Good
morning. Thank you all for joining us today. On Wednesday evening, December 21st, 2022, the Reynolds family was enjoying a special night out just before the holidays. And unfortunately on that night, 62-year-old Charles Joseph Reynolds was shot and killed in a stairwell of the Wayne Avenue garage in Silver Spring. This remains an unsolved homicide investigation that we have been actively working. Montgomery County Major Crimes detectives have done an extraordinary job of trying to discover information that will help them to solve this case. And as much as they have put in many hours of trying to conduct this investigation and come up with leads to help solve this particular homicide, they have not been successful. So therefore today we are asking for the public's help. If anyone in the public was there in the Silver Spring community downtown around the Wayne Avenue garage, George Avenue, Ellsworth Street, we are calling on them to come forward with information. Any information you may have, no matter how small you think it may be, it could be helpful. Following the death of Mr. Reynolds, Commander Dave McBain of the 3rd District Station and Captain Dave Reed of the 3rd District Station increased police presence in the downtown Silver Spring community. As a result of that increased police presence, we had more police officers that were actively walking in the downtown community in the central business district. We have also placed several portable surveillance cameras in the high traffic areas of downtown Silver Spring, and we're moving towards improving cameras in the garages of our that are owned by the county in the downtown area, working with the Department of Transportation for Montgomery County. To this point, since then, there have been no similar violent incidents in this garage. And we want to make sure that everyone is aware that we have been paying very close attention. We had officers actually also patrolling the garages, but we have had nothing similar of any violent nature, again, in this particular garage. And I want to assure the family of Mr. Reynolds that we will continue to investigate his murder, until suspects have been identified and apprehended and prosecuted by our state's attorney's office. The one thing we do not ever give up on is any murder investigation. We will investigate this until we find out who did this. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Captain Gagan.
So good morning. I'm Captain Sean Gagan. I'm the director of our Major Crimes Division. Over the last several months, Major Crimes detectives have conducted numerous interviews of people that were either in the parking garage or who were in the downtown Silver Spring area on the night of December 21st. The detectives have conducted numerous canvasses of retail establishments and surrounding locations around the Wayne Avenue parking garage, in an effort to try to identify any potential witnesses that may have seen something on the night of December 21st, around the time of this homicide. The investigators continue to review video from both the parking garage and from other locations surrounding the Wayne Avenue, Fenton Street area. There also have been done, have reviewed numerous pieces of data that have been gathered from the parking garage, once again trying to identify any potential people that were inside the garage utilizing the parking facility on the night of Mr. Reynolds' homicide. So the Wayne Avenue parking garage on the night of December 21st was extremely busy on that particular evening. There were a lot of people that were coming and going throughout the evening. There were a number of people that we have been able to view on video the night prior to the homicide, and then immediately thereafterwards. So once again, as Chief Jones said, we're making, we're actually requesting the public's help once again. If you or someone that you know was in the downtown area, or more specifically was using the parking garage there at Wayne Avenue the night of December 21st between the hours of 8:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m., we're asking your help in reaching out to us or having someone else reach out to us. You can remain anonymous, but we're looking for any information that that the public may have that's going to help us in trying to identify the person or persons that may be responsible for this homicide. So that number for our crime solvers in Montgomery County is toll-free number. It's 1-866-411-TIPS. And that, once again, is 1-866-411-8477. So that's all I have from this point. I know we have Ms. Hastings and her sister here, and Sherry's going to bring them up at this point.
My name is Karis Hastings, and I just want to echo what the captain and the chief have said and just ask anyone that might have seen anything the night of Wednesday, December 21st, and in the vicinity of the Wayne Avenue parking garage to come forward. It was a night that we were actually celebrating. My husband had picked up our youngest daughter from school. We were finishing up our Christmas shopping. It was 4 days before Christmas, and we were having a celebration dinner for Mary Beth's daughter's birthday, and had all gotten together. And after we left the restaurant, most of us went down to get some ice cream. Joe went across to the parking garage to put the leftovers from dinner into the car, and the rest of us went for ice cream. Mary Beth ended up deciding she didn't want ice cream. She went back to the parking garage. She actually found Joe when she got there and called 911, and it was literally 6 minutes between when we left the restaurant and when she called 911, and the rest of us had gotten ice cream, came back, and there was a helicopter overhead. We got to the garage. It was surrounded by police tape, and I was told, that it was my husband who was the victim. So we literally, in a 6-minute time frame, went from celebrating and being together, getting ready for Christmas, to then just the unimaginable that he had been shot, that they were trying to revive him, and then they were unable to. And so then, instead of getting ready for Christmas, we were talking to the police and calling funeral homes. And so our 3 daughters, 2 of our daughters were there that night. The other one came the next day, and just lost a wonderful father who, unlike me, could talk to them about their techie careers and interests. And I lost a husband who was just everything you could want a husband to be, supportive and caring, and would do anything for anyone. And it's a loss to our community as well. My husband was very generous with his time. He helped with our church when COVID started, and he was a computer nerd, and he made sure that we could have Zoom worship services, and he worked on the building at the church, and worked on our neighborhood pool and helping it to keep maintained. And he volunteered a bunch of time for CHEER, a community organization that helps at-risk kids. They had a terrible problem with their computers, and he volunteered hours after hours to try to get their computer systems back and running. So his death is a loss, not just for my family, my extended family, but for the larger community. And so we'd really like to see someone come forward and resolve this. Obviously, nothing's going to bring him back, but we're hoping that getting the person who did it, or persons, would at least make the community feel a little bit safer again.
So we're going to open the floor for questions. We can start with Ms. Hastings, and then we can bring back Chief Jones and Captain Hagan, and the investigators are here as well if you would like to ask questions with them.
Ms. Hastings, is there a particular memory of your husband that you cherish and that gives you strength?
There are so many. I just, every time I go walk the dog, and I think about how we'd walk the dog together. We used to play pickleball almost every day when the weather was nice. Just go to our neighborhood pool and play pickleball. He would drive me to my doctor's appointments, not because I needed, somebody to drive, but just because he knew it would make it easier for me. Tomorrow I have to go to the doctor, and I'll have to drive myself. But he was just the most loving person, and just every day in, it's the little things that I really miss, but make me remember him. How old are they? The oldest is 29, the middle one is 24, and the youngest is 21.
Stephanie?
Ms. Hastings, my biggest condolences to you and there is a chance that whoever's out there is still watching. Is there anything you want them to know?
I don't know what happened. Obviously, we don't know what could have occurred. It was such a short period of time. And I just, I hope that whoever did it, is sorry about what happened, maybe didn't mean for it to happen. And again, I would just want that person to never do it again and never have another family go through what my family has gone through.
Over here, I'm Megan Flaherty with WTOP. I'm so sorry it happened. How has this changed? Because you guys were so involved in your community. You were out in Silver Spring, and I'm assuming that's not the first time you were out in Silver Spring. How has that changed your relationship with Silver Spring and your neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly, it never had occurred to us to feel unsafe in downtown Silver Spring before. We've been going there all my kids' lives. We never thought anything of, dropping kids off to go to a movie theater there, or the Pottery Place, or, meet friends for shopping or a restaurant. And so it's been really hard to go back. I'm trying to get to a place where I can feel comfortable. And again, the whole community, I think, is really feeling that too, that just someplace that they took for granted was sort of a safe spot doesn't feel that way anymore.
But if I can just add, gun violence in this country has made every place unsafe, and Silver Spring is not a unique place. It's not a uniquely dangerous place. This was it was a fluke occurrence, and so we can't say that Silver Spring is now, dangerous and people shouldn't go out there anymore. What we really need to do is address, the fact that people have guns that should not have guns, and are taking actions to take lives when they absolutely should not have that power.
I'm Brad, does the not knowing make it worse?
I mean, again, it's not like knowing is going to bring him back. But, it's certainly, even though it's not rational, like in the couple days after he died, my daughter was going out somewhere early, and I knew she was going to be going out. But when I woke up, because I heard the front door opening and closing, all of a sudden, the first thing in my head was, they're coming back, and so, just not having any sense of it being over. Obviously, it's never going to be over, but it does make it harder to try to get back to some semblance of normal life.
Just two quick questions. You mentioned that you had just picked up your youngest daughter. Was there something was she coming back from college or something like that? And then the other question is, there's been this terrible rash across America of these kind of chance encounters ending in death. Do you think that might have been what happened here?
So my daughter was coming back from college. She goes to college in Colorado. So Joe had picked her up at BWI earlier in the day. And as Mary Beth was saying, the fact that there are so many guns in the community, and we know from just such the short time period that Joe was out of our sight, that whatever happened in a moment, and so it's just an atmosphere where again, people are carrying guns around that they don't need to be and they shouldn't be, and in an instant something like this happens and is so destructive to tragic for the family, but the larger community.
Stephanie, last question.
I understand the family wanted privacy after this definitely. What did it take for you to get here?
I was definitely reluctant to do it. My daughters were actually saying, "Oh, no one's going to see the news." Their generation doesn't watch the evening news, I just, speaking to folks in law enforcement or with connections to law enforcement, just said, what's the downside risk is, you don't get anything new, and the chance that you get someone, you know that obviously there are people out there that know what happened, and it's worth the chance to try to have somebody come forward. So, yeah, definitely not an easy decision to make to be more public about it, but if there's a chance it'll help take a gun off the street, I'm willing to do it.
Okay, thank you. We're going to bring in Chief Jones and Captain Gagan, and we also have Captain Dave Reed. Captain Dave Reed to talk about patrols
Thank you so much, Ms. Hastings.
in the area. If you want to stay, you can. So any questions?
Any theories at all? Totally random, targeted, something, anything at all?
First, I'll say this, Brad. This is, we've had incidents in the county, and particularly in our central business district areas, where an incident happens. There are people that are that are walking around, driving, that will report out. At minimum, they saw someone running away, they saw someone speeding away. In this particular case, we have heard none of that. We have, as I noted, the detectives have done extensive work in not only just in the garage facility, looking at the video camera footage, but also looking at neighboring businesses within that area that we would have seen some sort of an escape route. And none of that has come to fruition. And so that, when we talk about a theory, we're really at our wits' end in this particular incident, because it doesn't make sense to us. Sometimes you can see clear evidence for example, of a robbery that may give you a sense that this may have been a robbery that's gone bad, and it still may be. It still may be. We don't know that that's not the case. We just know that there was nothing of significance that was missing from our victim, and that's again where we have to again try to figure out what is and what was the motive of this horrific crime, because it just doesn't make sense to us at this present moment. Yes, sir.
There were cameras outside. Actually, two questions. Did this actually happen in the stairwell? Where exactly was he found? And then, secondly, you said there were cameras around the garage. Do you believe that you have potentially images of the killer but just can't ID him specifically, or could he have made, or she made their escape and escaped detection at all from cameras?
Well, it's, at this point, it's possible that, first it did happen in the stairwell, and there were no specific cameras in the stairwell, so we want to make that perfectly clear. But there are cameras in the garage, and there are no specific images of any individual of interest that we have in our possession. Again, we know that is a county garage. It is a paid garage where you have to pay for exit. So it is quite possible that the assailant in this case could have possibly gotten into a vehicle and made their escape in that way. We are, again, doing everything we can to try to identify all vehicles that exited the garage around after the homicide occurred. So we're still following those leads potentially looking at the individuals who were there. But that's really, that's a challenge within itself. Yes, ma'am.
Chief, can you talk about that, the fact that there is no suspect, the fact that there is this hanging, it seems random. What does that do to the community? I mean, it must be frustrating for you, but to not know why probably is making a lot of people feel uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely, and it's been, I think, as noted, since this occurred, the community was really rocked. For those who particularly visit Silver Spring, we have heard from the Silver Spring community and other members of our Montgomery County community and people in this area that often visit Silver Spring to note their uneasiness, you might say, based upon this type of event occurring. So we've worked very hard to try to comfort them and to note that we are doing our very best to provide high visibility, with our officers and providing additional equipment to assist us. We have actually implemented a real-time crime center, violent crime information center, where we're monitoring a lot of activities through a lot of other access to cameras to address some of the crime issues, not only in the Silver Spring area, but in our CBD, such as Wheaton, as an example. But we want to make sure that people know that we are committed to doing our very best. This is, again, at this point in time, it's unexplainable to exactly, the event itself. Not that, it comforts me any more to say that we've not had any further violent incidents such as this that would give us some indication that there was some trend. It's not happened anywhere else in the region from that standpoint. So with that, again, we don't know what the motive was in this particular case, but we're very committed to finding that out, and to, again, in the midst of that, making sure that that area remains safe to the best of our ability.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Captain Reed. Just wanted to say a few words about some of the initiatives that we've been doing. I have been working downtown Silver Spring, working with Commander McBain for almost 2 years now. I'm extremely proud of our partnerships that we have with both our elected and government officials, along with the Chamber of Commerce. Since that incident, we have stepped up foot patrols. We're kind of going back to old school, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. We have officers on foot patrols, walking to parking garages, walking into businesses, just saying hi to people. We also have overlapping patrols that are out doing proactive traffic enforcement. I can tell you right now, I think I probably speak for every executive, we're extremely proud of the efforts that our officers are doing on the street. We have recovered well over 400 firearms this year, mainly through our proactive traffic enforcement. And those are over 400 firearms that did not reach their destination, that cannot demoralize a family like where we're here today. We're working with our chamber through new initiatives that we will soon be announcing. We're upping our camera program, working with traffic. We continue to have a great working relationship with the Maryland State Police, Metro Transit Police, Park Police come in to help us out doing patrols. We bring in the State Police Spider team to work downtown Silver Spring. So when I say that we are bringing everything we can, even other districts and other district commanders are allowing us bodies so that we can supplement our officers that are on the streets. So the officers are putting in the work. They're putting in long hours. I can tell you, ever since this happened, I stayed up several nights trying to brainstorm ways that we can make sure that this never happens again, that another family does not go through this again. So we will continue our efforts. We're keeping our foot on the gas to try to make sure Silver Spring is safe and people know that they can come in and enjoy downtown Silver Spring and know that we're going to be out there. And this also goes hand in hand with our county executive working on new legislation for nightlife activity. So we have a lot of things going on, a lot of things we're excited about, and hopefully we can get some W's in the win column soon.
Stephanie?
It's actually a question for the chief, going back to how the public can help. Is it known at this point what type of firearm was used, and could anyone in the garage hurt?
So unfortunately, because this is an ongoing and open investigation, I don't feel comfortable in sharing the details of the type of firearm at this point in time. However, the public would have heard a shot ring out. We did have people that were in the parking garage that did come forward the night of the homicide to let us know that they had heard a shot.
Just the same question that I asked Ms. Hastings about, the country's been shocked by just a rash of these kinds of chance encounters resulting in just horrible violence. Is that the most likely explanation of what happened here? I mean, you can't be definitive until you figure out who did it.
Yeah, I can't be definitive, but I could say that we have experienced, as I think many of my other colleagues in the profession have experienced, individuals who are in possession of firearms, who try to settle, whether you want to call them disputes or simple disagreements, are just, to be quite frank, just unfriendliness to human beings, and utilize a firearm in order to settle said encounter. And they don't take long to do. I mean, I've seen some that have been broadcast on social media platforms. And that's, I'm not saying it did happen in this case. We, as Captain Reed noted, and what I think Mary Beth noted earlier about the amount of firearms in our community, that's real. That's a real, that's a reality in our community today that I have not seen. I've stated this before. In my 37-year career, I've not seen the amount of firearms that are now accessible in our communities. And they are in the hands of many individuals who should not have them illegally, as is exhibited by the numbers of firearms that officers are recovering here in Montgomery County alone. And I know across the region it's a regional problem, but it's a problem across the country. And again, it's where people come to settle these things, and they are quick to pull out a firearm to settle a road rage incident, or just an incident of displeasure about how they're treated at a local establishment, whatever the case may be. And not only do they just pull it to show it, they actually, we've seen where they pull the trigger. And again, not that we know that this happened in this particular case, but we're not ruling that possibility out at all.
Great, last question? Right here.
Two questions really quickly. Captain Gagan, you mentioned that witnesses had come forward saying that they had shots. The witnesses that come forward mentioned there was one shot, or were there multiple shots?
Once again, those are specific details of the investigation, so I'm not going to go into the specifics of that. Once again, what was conveyed to us that there was the sound of at least a shot that people heard in the parking garage that night.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Chief,
Chief
yeah.
Jones?
Yes.
You had mentioned that there have violence in other county-owned parking garages since then in downtown Silver Spring?
No, again, we've had, they're not in the parking garages themselves. We've not had violent incidents such as something as this in downtown Silver Spring. The answer is no.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, luckily I had